Hello, boys and girls. It is Tacoma Comics live with my picks of the week for weeks 10 and 11. I fell way behind. I know I promised in January that I was going to do pick of the week every single week, and I almost got there. But then with the Emerald City Comic Con and a bunch of stuff happening with school, work, and family, I just got behind, got backed up, and spent a really great weekend this weekend reading comic books, and I had a great weekend. I went to play poker Friday night, came in second place, won $50. Went to a party yesterday, went rock climbing this morning, got back into a bit of a routine after what's been a very busy couple weeks, and then tonight I read comic books. It's kind of a good night to do it because not as many YouTube shows on because everybody's returning from C2E2. But before I get to the comic books, I got a comic book conundrum for all of you guys that I wanted to ask. Hey, PMC, that's money I don't have, but that maybe next year. That's definitely a possibility. I just saw you put up your video. I'm going to watch it when I'm done with this one. So here's my conundrum, and PMC, maybe you can help me out. And anybody watching this in the rewind, put your comments in below. Let me know what you think, and I'll answer them. I went to one of the LCSs in town here, Destiny City comic book shop, and it's a good shop. I like all the shops in town, and I was hunting die. I was hoping to find like a second print of number 2 or third print of number 1 that hadn't sold yet. He had 5 copies of number 1 first printing that he hadn't sold, and he had a second printing and a whole bunch of number 2s, whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, wow. So I grabbed 3 of the number 1 first printings, and I grabbed the second printing of number 1 because I only had 1 copy of the second printing. I had to have like 10 copies of number 1, and I don't feel guilty about that whatsoever. So I grabbed those 3, and Friday on Instagram, I posted, I said, shout out to Destiny Comics, and I tagged him in it. I said, he's got a whole bunch of die number 1s if anybody's looking for them. So I went back there on Saturday with my sons. We were just going out and about the town with my wife and kids, shopping and lunch and stuff. And he's like, hey, thanks for putting that on Instagram. He goes, I got a whole bunch of calls about them. So apparently what he'd done, he'd taken the remaining number 1s and put them on the wall behind the register where most shops have like their good comics. And he put a price tag of $20 on each of them. He's like, yeah, I've had a bunch of people call now and get really upset. And so I kind of thought about it because I had actually gone back there thinking, if they're still there, I'm going to get these other number 1s. And I'm thinking about people being ticked about that. I know we've heard stories about comic book shops. And so my thoughts were, number 1's been out for 2 months or 3 months now. It's not a new comic. I think he had every right to throw them up there and charge $20. He's got a lot of calls about them, people saying, do you have them? So obviously he started thinking, it's not like he took a brand new comic that wasn't a like ratio incentive, just a regular cover A, and marked it up the day it came out. He put them on the shelf, and they'd been there literally for, I guess, 3 months. And it took me posting it on Instagram for people to get off their butt and go ask him about it. I mean, they could have gone down to his shop anytime they wanted. I did the hunting. I ended up helping him out, but I got 3 extra copies for myself. So I don't think he did anything wrong. But I'd love to hear what other people thought, if you think that's a shady move or not. I'm happy with it. I got my copies. He's going to make some money off of having an issue that's now an old issue that's really popular. Let me know what you think. Anyway, we have a massive haul of new comic books to go through, and I'm just going to pick I might even pick my top 2 or 3 because it's 2 weeks and it's just not. Yeah, I agree, poor man. I don't think it is. It's just too much to go through. So let's just see what we have to start off with, and some of these I might just put out of the way, and then I'll go through my favorite ones. So. Got Dark Visions, Vader. I'm really psyched for this. Him on a horse is just an incredible cover. I don't know if anybody has this. I don't know if this is like color fading or if this is the artwork down here where the bottom of the horse is fading out, but I'd love to know if I got like a bad copy or if that's the way they all look. That's a really good read. I picked this up at Emerald City. I don't know if it technically came out last week or the week before. Honor and Curse is from Mad Cave Studios to do Knights of the Golden Sun. I thought I'd give it a try. This was boring junk. It's a story you've seen 1,000 times before. It's a guy being trained as a samurai. Um, the trainer says he's everything. The leader of the clan, says, are you sure he's going to be the one to save us all? And the trainer's like, yeah. And then he's like, well, I want you to kill him for me. And of course, he's in love with the clan, the head of the clan's daughter, and it's a secret romance. So started off really good, where this chase scene where he kills himself, and I thought it was something where like he's got to kill himself to save the day or something all the time. What's up, Pope C? But apparently that was just a dream. So this was, not very good. Story you've read 1,000 times before. I didn't even know this was coming out. Warning in America by Magdalene Visaggio. This is from Emerald City. It's the shiny foil cover, which is just this thing. Hey, Farley. They just put a cover over the regular cover and called it the Emerald City exclusive edition or whatever. This was actually a really good read. I also got Calamity Kate, which I've already put away, by Mags, which is another new one that she's got. And that was okay. But I'm not even going to review that one here. This one was really good. I'll get to that in a bit. The new Batman, really good. Animosity number 19, not really good. There was so much freaking exposition in this, page after page after page, where the animals are talking about how they've been domesticated and bred over their thousands of years to be like this, and the women who got out of this palace place they were living with and are now going over like how they got caught and what they're going to do. But like the story goes nowhere. It's just like, oh my God. I mean, I've been loving Animosity. Is very, very few misses and a lot of hits, but this one was like bored. So this is not even going to get like into the running. A rooster shows up at the end. Is like, are you the one they call Jesse? And she's like, yeah. And the rooster's like, we got a problem. The leader told me to get you. Come. So it's like, okay, after 22 pages of talking, now we're gonna go help some new problem. Like it did nothing for me. It was too boring. Great reboot. Really like where this is going. I'll get into that a bit more. Really good comic. Really like Invisible Kingdom. Lumberjanes. This one's not going to be the running for pick of the week, so go over this one quickly. I still do not like the new artist. She's been on for about 5 issues now, and it's all this sort of like cutesy little drawn characters. It's give the whole book to get to Rooster. You're absolutely right, Pope C. I don't know. But the story, this wraps up like a 4-issue arc where they're trying to get Jo her birthday. And I mean, I know most of you guys probably don't read Lumberjanes. I have a love affair with this book. I love it, but like everything comes together. They get out of the belly of the beast. They now have to like sail back to get to the birthday party play that April put on for Jo. It is a kid's book, Farley, but it's one that I liked. I've picked up since the beginning and I've stuck with it. And it absolutely is a kid's book, but I'm totally down with it. And, at the end, it's best birthday ever. So I think if they'd had the original artist on April, the way she would have celebrated after Jo said it was the best birthday ever would have made her look so much cooler here. But anyway, it's a fun book. It was a good read. It was nice to enter that arc, but that won't make the pick. Lazarus is back, and I'm so psyched that Lazarus is back. And Lazarus is really cool. After, I don't know what it was, 20 something or maybe 30 issues as a monthly comic. This is issue 1. It's called Lazarus Risen. They're going to producing comics once a quarter. I think Lark and Flintstones was awesome, and that was a satire, so I wouldn't call that a kid's book. But Lumberjanes is definitely a kid's book. Michael Lark and Greg Rucka, I think, just needed like some time to decompress, and I know Lark needed a break. That's why Greg Rucka did Lazarus X plus 66. I'm glad they're back on this. This is a great one. Yeah, it is $7.99. That is a lot. But it's only going to come out 4 times a year. So you're spending $32 rather than $4 12 times a year, which would be $48. Yeah, they are quarterly. Farmhand, you know, I love the playfulness that um, Rob Guillory has, and I mean his artwork is just exquisite to look at. Very similar to what he did in Chew. It's still not clear where and when and if the worlds of Chew and Farmhand overlap. The one thing here is that there's not a human interest to follow. In Chu, we followed Tony Chu, CHU. We got to know him. He had this tragic cycle, this tragic arc. We got to know his family. And so there is an emotional note behind all the comics. In this one, the patriarch of the family, nobody likes him, but his son, Amo, his son is unemployed, and that's not his fault, but he hasn't really asserted himself as like a sympathetic character that you're rooting for. His son, this guy's son, this one's grandson, is also in here, but you're not sure what's up with him. Um, his daughter is like a baby and she's really sick, or she's younger and really sick. And then his wife, you're not sure what's up with her. And his sister, who still works with the patriarch, seems to be ruthless too. There's nobody that I'm rooting for and going like, I hope they figure it out. So it's interesting. I don't want to say that he needs Layman back writing it, because I think he's telling a good story. It's just not quite there, in terms of having that emotional arc to follow, somebody to root for. Let's see what else. Naomi, really good comic. I don't know what the heck they're talking about with a new character in here. This guy we knew as somebody else, not as like this space being superhero assassin, but we knew him. His wife dies, so I don't think it's her. Naomi's parents we'd already met, so there's no actual new character in this. It was a bit of misleading hype on this book, on Naomi 3. Pearl, I was ready to say I really think that they should have ended it after the first arc, 6 issues. It was a perfect story, but I'm glad they did this again. I'm so angry. I had this pile and I got to bend in this. I got to go buy another copy. Cover is really cool. So out of all those comics, these are just not even going to make the cut. I'm not going to bother telling you too much more about them. And I'm sorry, this is a lot of fun, but it's not a story that is getting me. Yeah. I did get Naomi, and it's really good. So that still leaves this many to go through. I'll try to be quick, guy. I don't want to kill you. Dark Visions. Look at this. All right. To somebody who's 47 years old, I saw the first Star Wars movie when I was 7. This is something new with Vader, and I love the way the cape looks like another knight riding behind him. This whole story is Vader crash lands on a planet, and it's a planet where there's this monster. The monster's called the Ender, because the Ender has ended, like civilization as know it. Everybody lives in tunnels underneath, and there's this boy that just like is narrating the story of Darth Vader fighting the Ender, right? And there's the Ender, this massive monster, and the boy thinks Darth Vader's a hero, but then Darth Vader battles the Ender, and the boy thinks Darth Vader's dead, but then Darth Vader summons his lightsaber and goes back for more and starts to kill the Ender. So it's this really cool device where the kid is narrating the whole story, and then Darth Vader ends up being victorious and the Ender is destroyed. And that's a great splash page. Darth Vader not jumping, but flying at the Ender. Really, really cool. Yeah, Honor and Curse didn't do anything for me too. I was just trying to grab something new from a smaller indie press. The art is really sweet and refreshing. Then at the end, the kid's like, "Thank you," and he's like, "You should not thank me, child." But then Darth Vader like doesn't kill him for whatever reason. He's like, "I guess the Force is with you today," and so that was pretty cool. Darth Vader goes away. The kid tells the story, and the kid becomes the hero of his little community. Um, and they're like, "Tell us the story." So it's kind of cool. And it's interesting. In the beginning here, they say, or is it at the end? Somewhere they talk about the idea behind these dark visions. I don't know where it is, but they're like, this is trying to show Vader in a different light than you're used to seeing him. Hey, Omega, how you doing? Here it is. Darth Vader is the Empire's most powerful warrior, mercilessly enforcing peace and order throughout the galaxy. Killer monster savior. What is the true legacy that the Dark Lord has left behind for those unfortunate enough to cross his deadly and destructive path? So the idea that they're like trying to show yet a different light. And Dennis Hopeless, I haven't read much of his stuff, but really, really good. All right, so Dark Visions definitely in the running for picks of the week. Good Morning or Morning in America. Now this goes back to the 80s when I grew up, and it's 4 girls in high school who are, we would have called them, I did not get my box yet, Pope, but the address I have you sending it to is my school address. It should be there on Monday. It wasn't delivered by Friday, but it might show up on tomorrow, because if they try to deliver it Saturday, the school is closed and they take it back to the post office and redeliver it on Monday. So there's these girls in this town, and they are like, we would have called them the dirt bags growing up. They smoke and they get in trouble and they gossip and they talk about sex that they don't actually have, and all that sort of stuff. And they don't care about school. They don't care about their history test. It's good old fashioned stuff. But there are girls that go missing in this town, and this guy comes up and is trying to like buy some drugs from like our protagonists. Possibly, but more talk than action. Omega. So our protagonist, I read this one a week ago, so I figured her name. She beats this guy up, but then the cops are after her, so she gets pulled down to the police station. When she's in the police station, she finds a detective who's arguing with like the chief. Who's like, "You leave this alone. I don't want anybody poking their nose in that." Hey, Prowler, how you doing? So it's just pretty cool. So then she gets out and she finds her friends and she's like, "I think there really is something up with these disappearances. And I think it's up to us to save the day." So, and her friend just looks at her and goes, "Are you fucking stupid?" Which is pretty cool. So I actually really, really enjoyed Morning in America. That was a good one. Let's see. We got people popping in. Farley says, "Talk about sex they aren't having. Sounds like high school." Yeah, exactly. And Pope C read it and enjoyed it. Me too. Really enjoyed it. Don't know what the hype on this one was. I mean, this is pure Batman, like relentless pursuit. This is part of the nightmare arc where it seems like Batman's been having nightmares either about Catwoman or about other stuff. And in this one, he's pursuing the question through the sky, across rooftops, falling down buildings. It's a silent issue mostly, through a bar where they run into, like when Tom King did the Batman Elmer Fudd crossover, you run into the same bartender there, and you hear some beep beep road running noises. I'm not sure what that was at first, why they were throwing that in. It's just really cool. So, Farley, I'm relatively new to this. I didn't know that. That makes a lot more sense if it's a flashback to something people know. I mean, so it's really great sequential art, right? And you really get the idea of the Bat as just this relentless crime fighter seeking his prey. And, the issue's called All the Way Down, and there's a lot of descent. You can think of that descent into darkness or descent into, like, the depths of your soul or the depths of depravity. I don't know exactly what. Here's like the only words in the whole thing is the Elmer Fudd bartender character going, "The dark night, the world's the Cape can't actually get things out," but then tells the Cape Crusader which way he went. See, Batman's almost fed up here. So they're chasing him now through sewers. We've literally gone from rooftops down through buildings, downstairs, down into a bar, down understairs into a sewer, and Batman is still chasing, and even like on top of sewer going down to a lower level. It's chasing, and literally goes down underwater to grab this character, to punch him, to pull off his mask. And it's the Joker. So I didn't see the variant cover. I like this. It didn't quite have that powerful impact. I don't know the Killing Joke, I'm embarrassed to say. So that might be why it didn't hit me the same way. So a good issue, enough to be in my top picks, but not like a great issue. You see how much I bought Pope C, I might have just said no to that. All right. Magnificent Miss Marvel. And we're moving along here. There's a lot of books. I appreciate you guys, everybody in the chat being with me. I did it again. I got 2 copies of this, and I put the bag in between. You heard that rip. I just ripped like right there with the sticky back of the bag. Oh, yep, you can see there's a white line across there. I cannot believe I just did that. Oh, it's killing me. Throw that bag out. So this is a nice reboot. Nothing great about this issue. Miss Marvel's talking to her friends. She's fighting a lot of monsters. She's fighting the Deathbringer. She's enlarging. The whole thing is told. It's almost like that. Like the Dark Visions, but this is told by a kid on another planet. She goes to bed, or he goes to bed and says, "Dad, tell me a story about the hero again." So they start telling about this faraway planet called Earth and this hero called Miss Marvel. And anytime, like in the hero retelling, something good happens, you see Miss Marvel is having her doubts. So she's walking with Nakia and telling Nakia the story of when she first got her powers. So it's a nice way of recapping the whole thing. But every time she kills a monster in this, like this monster here, whoever this is, what's it called? They turn to this blue goop at the bottom here. And so somewhere in this issue, her parents confront her because her mom told her dad that she was Miss Marvel, and we're not sure why or what's going on. And Bruno has developed a technology that tells when Earth is being invaded by aliens. That's how she keeps finding these monsters. And it gets really creepy. She gets home and her parents sneak up behind her, and she's like, "What's going on?" And then very last page, her parents turn to this blue goop. So it's a nice kind of recap of Miss Marvel and where they've been and what's going on. But it's also a real good story leading into the next one. So pretty good. Not a spectacular issue. So that's not going to be one of my picks of the week. But a good issue. All right, let's see what the chat's saying. Pope C was rebagging today. Flash 323, 324. Death of the Reverse found that they are water damaged. No. Still need to watch Miss Marvel. Heard lots. How did water get in? A lot of mixed reviews. You mean Captain Marvel? I loved Captain Marvel. I don't care what anybody says. My son said it was his favorite movie, Marvel movie ever. I'm like, even better than Spider-Verse? He goes, Spider-Verse is not MCU, Daddy. I said it's my favorite MCU movie. And so, kids, right? But a really nice reboot, a really good start. I like where Saladin and Med's going with that. And seeing what he did with Abbott, I'll read anything he did. Invisible Kingdom by G. Willow Wilson, who's now no longer Miss Marvel. And Christian Ward is killing it with the artwork here. Go from this celestial splash page to this one on the world, this girl kind of walking through these slums up these stairs. She's on a pilgrimage. So this is 2 stories in this far-off galactic place. One is of a kind of convent, nunnery called a nun, None, where this woman is on a pilgrimage. She's blindfolded because you got to blindfold yourself to get there. And she gets there and she receives a job as like the bookkeeper. And as she's going to discover, she's going through the ancient text. There's something fishy going on. And there's a whole other part where this group of interplanetary Amazon delivery guys, basically, and G. Willow Wilson even said she based this on Amazon. They're they're stuck on a planet. Their delivery is delayed because the company didn't fix their ship. But as they're going through the inventory, because they're stuck waiting for repairs, they discover there's something up with the inventory, and these two kind of seemingly disparate worlds collide between this group realizing the company is doing some shady business, and this woman in the convent realizing that the religious order is up to some shady business. So there's like shady corporate religious business, sci-fi, great writing, great colors, really good first issue. Cut out the mail coupon. That's not cool. Sorry, you guys are having bad comic times. I wish I had better news for you. So Lazarus, the artwork in here is still on point, but it feels like old comic book artwork. There's not a lot of large splash pages, just a lot more of this really beautiful sequential artwork. If you look where she takes the first shot, not in this panel, where is it? Up in this panel where she takes the first shot, you see the shot firing out of her gun and the two bullet holes in this guy's heads. And it's just really well done. So they recap the story nicely. They tell a new story. It's pure Lazarus. It's really great to get back into. They tie up a lot of loose ends. They flesh out more new story. They add a lot of great back matter. And there's none of this that looks as compelling as some of these other books. It's very much an older style, but it's just done beautifully. I'm not going to go into the whole story because there's a lot here, except this last page. That's one of the Lazarus, like this half metal, half flesh guy, who I don't really know very well. They just kind of introduced him. But then there's a whole short story by Lila Sturgis in here. This text with a couple pictures. It's awesome. It's set in the Lazarus world. And then there is something to do with an RPG game. So there's a lot of great back matter. Then there's an essay, and then there's letters. Really great way to start off a new section in this. Yeah, the art, it's small art, and I don't mean that in like it's tiny, but it's just like it's detailed and small. You don't get a lot of big, like bombastic art in it, but it's still really good. Pope C, does water damage dissuade you from buying a book? It depends what the book is, how much it is, and how much I want it. I've bought some books that are water damage. I wouldn't pay as much for them. I wouldn't buy a modern book with water damage. But if it's an older book that I really want, like I just bought X-Men 120 for $14, first appearance of Alpha Flight. The cover is really good. Probably like an 8.0 if you look at the front, but when you flip it around, the whole back cover has got like those brown spots and it's crinkly. But for $14, get another X-Men, early X-Men. I'm totally down with that. All right, losing my voice here, coming to the end, guys. 3 more left. Naomi. I have loved what Walker and Bendis are doing on Naomi. They're just delivering a really slow burn of a good story. And every issue, it's her confronting things going on in this town. And her parents are like, dude, we did not want to tell you what was going on. We knew we had to someday. Now we got to tell you right away. And she's like, what the heck? They'll just trust us. We're not ready for this. We just didn't expect to do it. They bring her in, and this issue ends the way every issue's ended. It's with this huge, big reveal, right? Dad's actually an alien. This is a spaceship. But it doesn't actually tell you more than that. For a book in which not much has happened, you get a lot of story and a lot of cliffhangers. And I'm really liking what they're doing. This girl just, what a great device. Who am I? Where am I from? Who's my parent? If you're the alien guy who crash landed on Earth the day I was born, but you're not actually my parents, how do you know my parents? Who are my parents? Where was I born? Why am I so obsessed with superheroes? Do I have powers? And they're not telling you the answer to most of those questions, but they're telling you enough to keep you coming back for more. Really like Naomi. I would pay $20 for a moldy albedo too. I might even cut off the back page. I'd put it in like sterile environment and like I'd throw it in the dryer. I'd do something. $20 for Albedo 2, I think I'd go there. All right, 2 left. Pearl. This is a Sinking Near Mints and I, if you guys have been watching our videos, we are polar opposite collector styles. I will absolutely pay. I will actually go for a issue I really want. If it's not in the best condition, the price is right. He's all about the top grade. So we had a lot of fun shopping opposite ends of the spectrum together at Emerald City. So the artwork and Michael Gatis's artwork on this is another level. I mean, there's just so many differing styles for the different places they visit in San Francisco and California and in Portland. And just look at this tenement building here. Love that. Love that. There's some amazing things happening in here. So I don't know if you're following the story, but she's with her lover and they admit they like each other, but now the FBI is after her because of the shooting at the club. She runs into a friend of the tattoo shop who basically says, F off, I don't know what's going on. It is Pope C, and there's a lot of stuff like that in here. And then we see a little bit of the Endo twins, who are like the bad guys that are out to get Pearl. Basically, this is like a road trip book. She's just going through San Francisco. She finds her friend who's like, we got to get out of here. So they go up the coast all the way up to Portland. Yeah, exactly. Beat up is relative, but I mean, there's just all these great art styles that like mix together. The dialogue works super well. Nothing happens. I mean, the FBI agent's on their trail. The tattoo guy says he's thinking about whether he should turn her in, and then he like glances and he's like, nope, totally worth it. I'm going to keep her secret. This whole welcome to Portland thing gets me going here. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? There's not much happens in the end. After having traveled and talked like girls who knew what they're doing, getting a getaway bag and burner phones and going all there, basically they end up with a criminal boss who's in charge of her clan, beat her there by half an hour. So like for nothing happening of major import, this was amazingly well done story. The last one is Cover. And if Michael Gatos was on a different level in Pearl, David Mack is on a different level here. So the cover of the book turns out to become the cover of the book at the convention in the story. They're doing some really crazy things with this Jinx World imprints. And I haven't read, I've only read one issue of Scarlet, and I haven't read, what's it called? And I haven't read any of the United States versus Murder Inc. I read the first volume a couple years ago, but I didn't read any new stuff. But Pearl and Cover, perfect. So this great stuff where you picture him like running and he's not sure what the hell is going on. He's talking to himself. And more of it. I mean, this is like, you gotta have confidence in yourself to do spreads like this and to take the story where it's going here. It's really good. And then the next page, he's like, oh, wait, I found it. I'm not lost anymore. It's just like you get inside his head and you totally get where he's going. He's at this artist and convention dinner after the convention with artists and writers. He meets up with a guy who he's supposed to try to turn over to our side, who's also comic book artist, The Spy. And eventually he does. He turns him over to his handler. They go to a hotel, and then it skips to a few months later, a year later. He's at another convention, and this is the story he writes within the story. One of the stories within stories. If you're not reading Cover, it's going to be really hard for me to explain this to you guys. But everything David Mack does in here is beautiful. So anyway, bottom line is the creator, the artist who he turned as an asset over to the CIA, ended up writing a story about what happened, which makes it unbelievable to anybody. If he was to tell him, hey, this story actually happened, like, no, you just I'll give you 40 for it. um, but yeah, it becomes this really cool story within a story with these beautiful David Mack watercolor splashes and different art styles. It's hard to explain this one to you, but it's really good. All right, that brings me to the end. Glad that we still got a bunch of you with us. I appreciate you being here. So our choices for picks of the week, and I'm going to go for 2 or 3 since I'm some weeks behind. Is it Dark Visions? It might be. It might be Morning in America. Invisible Kingdom is going to be a great story. I wouldn't say this was a great issue. This was a great setup for a first issue setting up the world. So take that one out of the running. I'll take another copy of Invisible Kingdom out of the running. Lazarus might be there. Naomi, it's so compelling, but nothing ended up happening in the end. You only get just a little bit more. Really great read. I don't know why this one is flying off the shelf. It does not have a new character, as far as I know. It has the same characters with a different story. I would not call this a new character. Good story, not great. And then Pearl and Cover. Pearl was a fabulous read if you're into the story, but nothing happened, so I'm going to put that out of the running. Dave, every time you type something and ask me if I want to show or hide it, I wish you would just start to learn me. Cover was a really nice ending. I don't know if they're going to do another arc to this. Really nice ending. No, I'll keep that in the run. So here we go. You know what? I'll take Cover out, and I'll say my 3 picks of the week this week were Darth Vader, Dark Visions, Morning in America, and Lazarus. I enjoyed reading the heck out of a lot of things, but I think these are my 3 top ones. I can't wait for another 3 months for this to come out again. Really good. This looks like it's going in some dark, new places with Darth Vader. Whenever you can take a character that's had that much written about him and do something new, right on. And this one out of Mags has so many books out right now. Kim and Kim, Vagrant Queen, Calamity Kate, Morning America. I'm actually really liking this one. So those would be my picks of the week. Thank you guys for being here. I had a little question in the beginning. If you came in late asking about something my LCS did, you might want to check that out. Let's just check the chat. Everybody's picking on Pope C for not buying the Albedo 2. And Poor Man Comics almost got the Mario preview book. I saw you posted that on Instagram, but I didn't know anything about it. David's pretty sure that Pope messed up. $20. Go back and buy it. Yeah, I'll double whatever Seeking Your Mint wants to pay you. All right. Let's see. A TOS 52. The original series 52. Is that what that is? And BWL, Black Widow. Well, there you go. Black Widow is becoming a hot guy, and so is Taskmaster. Apparently, Taskmaster is supposed to be the villain in the Black Widow movie. So Avengers 195, 196 are heating up again. And with that, I will say goodbye to you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here late on a Sunday night. This is the only time I could get any of this done, so I appreciate you guys hanging out. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.